Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and in celebration of the Grand Tournament expansion coming out, we are going to look at every single new warrior card. That is the last class we have to look at. I've been doing a series of episodes for each class. Next episode will be for the neutral classes. Then I'm going to do a series of a deck rebuild for each class. Uh, in celebration of the grand tournament, using the new cards and trying to build as good of a deck as I can think of in such short amount of time. Now, to see the grand tournament cards, we click here and filter to grand tournament. To see the cards that we don't have, we click here to go to crafting mode. And to double check to make sure we see any soulbound cards, even though there aren't any, I'm sure, we click include soulbound cards. And that filters this down to just the new warrior cards. Let's look at them and see what they are. First card is a 2-mana spell that gives your minions taunt. No, that's not what it says. It's called Bolster. 2-mana spell called Bolster. And it gives your minions that have taunt +2/+2. Interesting. That is a new concept. We've never had a spell that particularly targeted people with either taunt or divine shield. And in fact, they should have had a card that did something like that when we looked at the paladin cards, but there just wasn't. So we have a gold version of this, and I am disenchanting all the gold versions for the dust because I desperately need it. And that will help out a little bit. After I do the neutral cards, we will do a deck rebuild, and on the first deck rebuild, which will be a druid deck rebuild, we will decide what cards I'm going to buy with dust. And I probably won't use all of my dust in that deck rebuild. I'll just save whatever I have extra for all the other deck rebuilds. But more than likely I'll be close to out of dust at the end. If I get all the way down to warrior and decide that I didn't really need to make any grand tournament cards, I'll start making classic cards at random. Next card we have is the 2-mana, well, we don't have it, but next card that was released in the grand tournament expansion is a 2-mana, 2-attack, 3-health creature called Alexstrasza's Champion. I pronounced that pretty well, I think. It has a battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and charge. Let's see. So it's a 3/3 for 2 mana, so it's already a good card. It's a 2/3 with the potential of being a 3/3 and having charge, so it's really a great card. Now, the only problem with it is the whole dragon stuff. I just haven't seen enough dragons in the game yet. Eventually I know we'll get to the point where there are enough dragons, but I just haven't seen them yet. It's kind of the same issue with pirates too. I haven't seen enough pirates to make a pirate deck. I haven't seen enough dragons to make a dragon deck. For a long time we didn't have enough murlocs to make a murloc deck, in my opinion. I think we do now, since I have a murloc deck. Next card we have is a 2-mana, 3-attack, 2-health creature called the Sparring Partner. He has a taunt and a battle cry to give another minion taunt. Absolutely great card. Totally great. No question about it. Definitely would want it in my deck. It seems like the warrior has a new strategy that's getting introduced here of having more taunt creatures. Next we have is a 3-mana, 3-attack, 2 durability weapon called the King's Defender. It has a battle cry. If you have a minion with taunt, gain +1 durability. Now the way this is phrased, it doesn't gain more than 1 durability if you have multiple creatures with taunt. I kinda wish it would, but for 3 mana I see why it wouldn't. it's a pretty good card. It's a little low on the durability side, but I definitely consider it for weapons because the selection of weapons you can have is usually pretty low if you're going to have any weapons in your deck at all, which sometimes you don't actually want any weapons or don't have room for. Next card we have is a 3 mana spell called Bash. Deal 3 damage, gain 3 armor. Well, nothing wrong with that card. That works just great. Next card we have is a 3 mana, 3 attack, 3 health creature called Orgrimmar Aspirant. Orgrimmar Aspirant. I'm still not sure if it's aspirant or aspirant. I assume that's people aspiring to be knights. I've never heard of this phrase, if it's something they just made up or if it's a real thing. It has the Inspire ability to give your weapon +1 attack. Pretty good card. If you have a weapon out, every time you use the Warrior ability, which gives you 2 armor, you would get another attack on your weapon and power it up. So that all works pretty well. So definitely would have this card in my deck. Definitely think about it. Didn't say a lot about this card. I mean, ever run into a card that's just so good you don't have anything to say about it? There really is nothing I can say about it. It's just good. Deal 3 damage, gain 3 armor. I'm surprised it's that good. Usually there's some kind of trade-off. Next card we have is the 4 mana, 5 attack, 3 health card, the Magnetar Alpha. It also damages the minions next to whomever he attacks. We've seen a couple other cards that do this, but they've been really high mana counts to summon and not really worth it. But for 4 mana, to do 5 attack and 3, it's already a good card. But then to do its damage to the cards on either side makes this an excellent card. Just great. I would definitely put this in my deck. You're talking potentially 15 damage, 5 to the creature in the middle, 5 on either side in one attack. His health is a little low, but not too bad. Next we have the 6 mana, 6 attack, 7 health card, Sea Reaver. When you draw this, deal 1 damage to your minions. It's a good card, and I would have this card in my deck if I'm doing an enraged deck. A lot of warrior decks you can make have characters that when they take 1 damage, they will either summon something or gain Wind Fury or gain Taunt or gain attack. So for ignoring the fact that it does 1 damage to your minions, just a 6/6/7 is a good card. With this ability that you normally wouldn't want to do 1 damage to your minions, it makes it a better card. Now it is still very random because it's when you draw this. So you may have on your field a bunch of people that only have 1 health left, and then you would randomly draw this and kill everybody on your field and just destroy some strategy you were working on. That's a little too random than I think maybe the pros and experts would want to play, but for a less than expert player, I think it's something you should definitely consider in a warrior deck, depending on what kind of deck you're building, whether it's an enraged deck or not. If you're not playing any characters that can be enraged, I wouldn't play that. And lastly, we have a 10 mana, which is so far the highest mana count card we have seen. 7 attack, 7 health creature called Varian Wren. It has a battle cry to draw 3 cards and put any minions you drew directly into the battlefield. Interesting. I think this is a good card. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a perfect card, but it's slightly better than good because it costs a lot. Definitely costs a lot. to just get a 7 and 7. But then you could summon, you could draw 3 cards, and that could be a 20 mana legendary, it could be a 10 mana legendary, it could be a 15 mana legendary in those 3 cards, and then all of those would be summoned. When they say minions, that means any creature whatsoever. Uh, there are 3 types of cards. There's minions, spells, and uh, weapons. Under spells, there's a subcategory of secrets, and under minions, there's several subcategories of types of minions like totems, demons, pirates, murlocs, a few others. But they all fall under minions, so any creature basically would be summoned. So I'd definitely have that in my deck and see if it worked. And that's going to be it for Warrior. So we're going to look at the neutral cards next episode. And then the episode after that, we will start our deck rebuilds using both the Grand Tournament and regular cards to see what the best deck is that we can build based on the cards we have. Since I did, in my episode 50 plus packs being opened, get over 250 more new cards, a lot of which were turned into dust, but a lot of which weren't. So now I have a bunch of new cards, and that makes perfect sense to make a new deck. Anywho, that's going to be it for this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it and make a donation. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.